John the Baptist, on the other hand, is the kind of person we want to pass the baton of leadership off to. Whether it's in business, whether it's in government, whether it's in the church, or whether it's in any other social institution. One of the most difficult things in ministry is actually to see people you've served and you sacrificed and you sorrowed with and you've celebrated with decide one day that they're not going to go to your church anymore. And the reason is because they found maybe a new church, or maybe even a church with better programs, or a better pastor, or maybe even a better building. If you go back into Scripture, there's a story told in the New Testament of a church where everything they did just seemed to work. For 9 months, he has been the talk of the town, John the Baptist. For 9 months, everybody has been going out to hear him preach. Then one day, another group of people come to John this time. They come to him and they tell him that, hey, guess what, John? You're not the new church on the block anymore. And I think it was because they wanted to test him to see what he was going to say when he wasn't the church where everybody was going and everyone was leaving his church and going to another. What John is doing is he's responding to these critics. He's giving us a 4-point outline of a picture of a person we should pass the baton of leadership off to. There's 4 things, and to begin with, the first thing we realize is that John marks for us someone who sees everything they have as a gift from God. Not someone who owns it, but someone who sees themselves as a manager of it. And certainly not someone who thinks they deserve it. But now John models for us a second mark. And that is someone who knows exactly who they are not. Because that's the first step to knowing who you are, knowing who you're not. He knew he was not the Christ. He knew he was not Elijah. He knew he was not the prophet. So then who was he? Because that's the third mark. The third mark is someone who knows exactly who they are. And fourth and finally, and maybe is the most difficult perhaps, is this: someone who recognizes that they can be replaced and accepts it. Somebody who realizes they're not unexpendable. But notice John's response in John 3:30. It's his most infamous words. He must increase, but I must decrease. John the Baptist was doing what all leaders should do as they transition in leadership from one generation to the next. He was intentionally moving out of the way, shifting the crowd's attention and admiration away from himself and instead to his or her successor. What do you need God to help you do to become more of a leader like John? Do you need to see everything you have not as something you own, but as something God in His grace has given you for only a season? Do you need to remember exactly who you're not believe what everybody's saying about you, either good or bad, and remember who you are, that you're just simply a voice called to make disciples? Or do you need to remember the fact that you can be replaced? What might it mean to you today to live what John said? He must increase and I must decrease. We're only stewards of whatever it is we have for a season. May we, by the grace of God, live out this truth that He must increase and I must decrease.